Okay, so here are the rails, and here is our show.
Completely off. Completely gone today. What in the world? Derailed.
Yay, you're here. Welcome to the CK and GK podcast. Let's get going.
Tuesday!
Oh my! Was not ready. Loved it. Had the volume turned up really loud in my ears. Amazing.
And I got real close to the mic.
Yeah, you did. We're so glad you're here. Today, Jenny is telling me all the things I'm doing wrong at work. I mean, all the things we might be doing wrong at work and how to fix them. Yes?
Thanks, Pinterest, for telling me what I'm doing wrong.
Anyone who says Pinterest is not a valuable tool anymore needs to stop talking, because it's definitely a valuable tool still.
I mean, I kind of still love it. It's fine.
Yeah, great. Why not? It's great. All right.
Okay. So before we get started, we can call Caitlin my balance sheet because I'm accounting on her to help me with this episode.
I like that. Very clever. Well, I don't have a clever one for you today. I'm just going to say that's Jenny, an assistant principal of a middle school right now. I'm so excited for you.
Thanks.
Yay.
I'm excited too.
Yay.
I'm excited too.
It's so great. Awesome. Before we start, I want to share a shout out. We got a 5-star review. This podcast is hilarious and feels like listening to a conversation with my friends. Great practical advice for adults still learning what that means.
Love it. Love it.
I can't wait to binge all the episodes.
So am I.
Yes. Thank you so much for that review. That's from Morgan Franklin Media. Appreciate you.
Awesome. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, like Caitlin said, I'm going to be telling things that you're doing wrong at work. And like everybody already knows, you're not supposed to be chronically late. You're not supposed to gossip. Don't put anything negative on your socials about your job or the people you work with. Like, duh, these are all things we already know.
Yeah.
So what I am presenting is unprofessional behaviors that are very common, and surprisingly, you might actually be doing some of them.
Oh,
and it always comes down to intent versus impact, right? And
yes,
even if your heart is in the right place, you might still unintentionally send a different message to your team or your clients or your potential customers.
Oh, it's giving Michael Scott.
Yes.
Oh,
yes, exactly.
Okay.
So my first one comes from an article called 7 Things That Brand You Unprofessional by Liz Ryan. And it was posted on LinkedIn. And you know, if it's on LinkedIn, it must be true.
No. No, but
this was good. I pulled this one because I thought it was good.
Okay.
She says, saying that we'll get back to you in a few days to applicants. You are not going to get back to them in a few days.
Oh,
you are not. So don't say it.
No.
Just say we'll be in contact.
Yeah.
Because in a few days, unless you're going to send them a message saying, hey, we're still thinking about you and we haven't made a decision. If you say in a few days, that person is checking their email frantically starting on the second day.
Yeah.
And they are hoping that they haven't missed a message from you on day 3. And on day 4, you have broken their hearts. So if you want to establish a relationship with one of these applicants who's a potential employee, someone with whom you're trying to build a relationship, do not give a timeline on when you will be in contact.
The whole you've broken their hearts thing is real. Like there's a very intense movement on LinkedIn right now that is being pushed by people who are looking for work, and they're saying things like, stop ghosting me, stop not talking to me. Like ultimately it's just mean, right? Like I don't like that. So if someone's actually still in your pipeline for a potential job, maybe it's worth it to send them a message, in a week. Like it's easy to take these applicants, filter them through your system, and then create a list of people that says like, these are the ones who we're considering. And then you just send them an email a week later that says like, we're still thinking about you. We're still processing applications.
Right.
Because people who are applying for jobs more than likely need a new job.
Need a job.
So when you are saying in a few days and you don't get back to them, like, ew, just don't do that. I don't like that at all. I'm glad you brought that up. That's a big deal to me, especially as someone who was on a job hunt for months and applied everywhere. This is a hard one.
Okay, so my next one is from me.
Oh.
It is not published. But this is one that, to me, really speaks about your character.
Okay.
Registering and not attending an event.
Be specific about the event you mean.
Okay, now here's the thing. A lot of times, especially if you are in a larger organization, there might be an opportunity to attend a webinar.
Yes.
Or a workshop.
Yes.
Or a PM social or something.
Mm-hmm.
If you register for or you RSVP yes for an event and you do not show, it makes a statement to the host, whether you mean it to or not. Unless you make a proper prior notification and say, I will not be attending this, my plans have changed, life has happened, whatever. If you just flake and don't attend, you've been noted as someone who is not as responsible as you want people to think you are.
So I'm going to push back on this just a tiny bit. And I'm going to say this is more important to me for in-person events as opposed to webinars. And here's why I'm going to say this. As someone who now works in marketing and has been behind the scenes for many webinars, to me, it was the attendance rate does matter. Like I want attendance, but just FYI, typical attendance for webinars in the roughly 2.5 years I've been doing this hovers right around 20 to 35% for a lot of them. Right. So that's if you have 10 registrants.
But why is that a statistic that we're accepting?
Well, for a couple of reasons. I market to educators. I know that things happen during the day and educators can't come. I get that.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like if we have an event at 11 o'clock in the morning, Pacific time, that's right smack in the middle of the lunch hour. And maybe a principal can attend, but maybe they can't. So I'm okay if they register for the event and get the recording to watch later. Right? Because I, as a marketer, I still have their contact information and I can still reach out because I know there's an interest there that they want what I'm talking about. Okay. So there is that piece of this. What I'm not okay with is registering for an event that's an in-person event where, especially if you had to be included in like numbers and the number of attendees is not like, you know, in the multiple hundreds. If we're talking about like a less than 50 person in particular event and you register and then you don't show and you don't tell anyone, that I completely agree with you about. That to me really says a lot about something. And things happen. So, and maybe the thing that happened is honestly, today took every bit of my emotional capacity and I just can't.
I don't have it.
And
you can just say, I've had a conflict, period.
The end.
That's a sentence.
You don't owe anyone additional explanation. You just say something came up and I can't, thank you anyway, and move on. But I agree with you there. But the webinar thing bothers me less.
Okay. I'm glad to know that.
Yeah. Only because again, I market to educators and sometimes things come up and even as I attend webinars as a marketer, and I can't always attend because something comes up. And so I just want the recording to watch later. I'm okay with that. Again, because they still have my information. They can still contact me if they want to. They know that there's an interest there. But the in-person ones is where I'm 100% on your side on that.
Now, I will say in my nonprofit work, when I tell a presenter that we're going to have 40 people attend their workshop, even if it's online, and 15 come. Yeah. Not only does that speak about the people who did not come, it also says something about my nonprofit.
I would agree with that. And I will preface things by saying, and now granted, I'm a little spoiled because I'm in the education space and everyone who's in these webinars understands that in education, there are actual things that require your immediate attention, right? So I tell them, you know, my presenters, hey, please don't be put off by the number of attendees. It's not about the attendees. It's about the watches after the fact. And that number is usually in this range. And I have a number that I can tell people based on a baseline, right? I can say this many, but yeah, the in-person ones, it's hard.
The in-person for sure.
It's hard. Oh,
just reach out.
Yeah.
Just reach out.
Agree.
Even if it's after the event has started, just send a message.
I'm sorry. I couldn't make it. Yeah.
Preferably beforehand, but if not, at least acknowledge that you're not there.
Yeah.
Okay. And kind of on the heels of this, from the 10 most unprofessional work behaviors by Kate Lopez.
Okay.
Confusing a work social for a social social.
In-person event?
In-person event.
Okay, got it.
Work social versus social social. Now, can you go out with your colleagues for a social social? Absolutely! Exclamation point at the end.
Mm-hmm.
But if this is a work event, as in it is hosted by your company, the company is picking up the bill, or someone in a supervisory capacity has invited you, it is now a work event.
Mm-hmm.
And you need to be on your work behavior.
Mm-hmm. Give yourself a drink limit. Or be sober. Yes.
And make sure that your conversation is one that you would have in front of the water cooler as well as at the table.
It will come back to bite you.
You are still representing your company at that point.
100%.
Now, if you are on a team that says, hey, let's go grab a burger after work today. And the team goes, and then you also say, hey, why don't we invite so-and-so supervisor? That's fine. It is not a work event. You might have someone in a supervisory capacity there. You are going to want to mind the fact that your boss is at the table.
Yep.
Right? Like, keep that in mind. But also know that you're not at work at this point. You invited them.
Right. Yep.
But just keep in mind that people remember who you are outside the office or the building or whatever it is that you work when they see you the next day.
The line, we hire for skills and fire for behavior, is one that has always stuck with me.
Oh, that's good.
And it is real. And a lot of it, the behavior you'll see in the workplace, but you see a decent amount of it out of the workplace too. And I'm not saying don't have a workplace bestie. Obviously, that relationship would not have worked out for me, for you and I.
No.
But I am saying that anytime you open your mouth about anything at work, you better make sure that the people around you are not people,
that you're not working.
Yeah. You need to be able to trust these people. Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that the friend comes first and then coworker is the next label.
Right. Exactly. Because if it's coworker, then friend, no.
Yeah.
Mind your behavior, mind what you say, and mind what you do, for sure.
Okay. The next one is big.
Oof. Okay, I'm ready.
Perpetuating microaggressions. Now, this comes from an editorial on Biospace, and it's the 10 bad yet surprisingly common workplace habits to drop ASAP.
Okay.
And I stole a couple from this list because I thought it was pretty great. But one of the things that they highlight in this microaggressions portion is it's not just the microaggressions that we think of at the forefront about people of color or other marginalized groups. It is groups that we don't necessarily think of, and it might be something as simple as scheduling a major event on a major holiday that is for a faith other than Christianity.
Oh, yeah.
Don't don't plan a work dinner on Yom Kippur.
No.
If you can avoid a working lunch during Ramadan, try.
Yeah.
Consider other major world holidays when you're building out your calendar.
Yep.
Otherwise, you are unintentionally sending a message that those holidays don't matter to you.
There's a way to fix this, by the way. If you have a Google-based calendar, or I mean, they also make them for all of the calendaring programs. You can subscribe to religious holiday calendars and have them show up on your calendar. I have on my work calendar, I have like social media holidays, you know, like National Hot Dog Day, National Emoji Day, which were coincidentally both in July. But I also have major religious holidays of other faiths on my calendar because we work with clients all over the world, but also I work in education and I can't with confidence like tell people not to, you know what I mean? We have to honor children of all faiths. It's just how it has to be. So I highly recommend subscribing to one of those or all of them if you can, and just making sure that they're on your radar for this kind of behavior. But you said there could be other ones that were even smaller. Yeah. So I'm that's not small, but I'm curious what the smaller ones are.
But here is another one that really stuck out to me. There is a big difference between demanding that the more quiet employee speak at the table or inviting the more quiet employee to speak at the table. Saying, Caitlin, I haven't heard you. Do you have an opinion on this? I'd love to hear what you think. That is very different than, Caitlin, are you going to talk about this?
Mm-hmm.
We haven't heard you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think even this just comes down to knowing the people in your workplace a little bit as humans as opposed to coworkers, right? Like if you know that there's someone who is going to stay quiet during meetings, but definitely has an opinion and just feels more comfortable sharing them after they've had a moment to process and then send an email, like you can, invite that also, but just, there's a lot of
but again,
that behavior.
It comes down to that intent versus impact.
Right.
When you invite someone into a conversation, you are also giving them the opportunity to decline the invitation.
Yeah, totally true.
Whereas when you put someone on the spot, they have now made this space, it's unsafe for them.
Mm-hmm. I love that.
And the next time that you are facilitating a meeting, they are going to go in with hesitancy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Rather than feeling empowered and saying this person cares about what I think.
Right. You haven't made them go into the next meeting and think, I'm going to be ready to answer a question. Instead, they're thinking, oh my God, I'm going to get called on. Oh my God, what am I going to say? Right. And they're going to not be able to absorb what you're talking about anyway. So I love that. I think that's a great one. There are lots of microaggressions that are not related to race or religious background or other, marginalized groups, but I would highly recommend if like telling someone point blank, like, listen, if this is a behavior that I have done that, or I'm intentional about making sure my behavior is not going to be hurtful to anyone, and should I do something that is hurtful, please do tell me because I want to fix that behavior. I think that there's a lot of welcomeness in that, right? Like,
yeah.
Oh man. Well, okay. What's the next one?
Kind of on the same idea. It's the opposite of demanding information. Being dismissive. Oh. The first rule of brainstorming is deferring judgment. And like you mentioned last week, it is possible that the judgment is still happening in your brain and on your face, even if you're not saying it. So be mindful of all your nonverbal communication. You might think it's the worst idea ever. You might think, oh my goodness, this is going to cause the world to light on fire. But you can just acknowledge that they said that. Oh, okay, that's an idea. And you don't have to say, wow, that's a terrible idea. And it's yucky. And the world's going to light on fire if we do that. You can just say, okay, thanks. And add it to the list or not. But being dismissive sets a tone for other people in the room. They are now going to be shy about sharing their own ideas. It also creates a dynamic between you and that person that they don't feel safe sharing ideas with you. Now, of course, if someone makes an off-the-wall comment that has changed the whole feeling of the room or has created some tension, of course those kinds of things need to be addressed in the moment. But when you are dismissive of ideas in a brainstorming session, you have just changed that brainstorming session into trying to impress you.
Or what's the point of this brainstorming session if every idea is going to be shot down, or if the first idea gets shot down, right? Like that's, can I just say, I'm not a fan of oral brainstorming sessions anyway, because to me, it feels like a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
I would much rather have someone say, hey, at this meeting, we're going to be sharing ideas for XYZ. If you could
come in with
ideas or no, I mean, people don't do their homework, right? Like, let's be clear. Right. Adults are terrible at doing homework, but like saying someone come in with your ideas, or like, that feels a little bit pressury too, but maybe saying like, this is what we're going to be discussing. I'd love to hear what thoughts you have on anything related to the matter. We'll share them anonymously or something like that, so that people come in, you have a stack of paper, you just let them write it out, and then you pull from there, and then it's a non-threatening way to do that.
Right.
But I also think there's something to be said about being dismissive, not just about brainstorming, but just about how people feel about things, right? You said it's impact versus intent, right? Maybe you didn't intend to offend someone, but the impact was that you did, and telling them that they don't feel that way is not okay. And it's gonna get you in trouble in the workplace anyway. So you might as well acknowledge and not dismiss that as well, right? Like, yeah, we're, again, hire for skills, fire for behavior. So if you act like a jerk and then you dismiss the fact that you acted like a jerk to someone when they come to you about it, it's easy to get defensive, but it's just as easy to say like, I didn't realize I made you feel that way. Can I have a moment to process?
I'm so sorry.
Right. Yeah. Can I have a moment to process? Even if you don't, anything. I don't know. Just putting that out there. What else we got here?
So the next one also comes from this Biospace editorial that I saw this and I was like, wow, they wrote this right for me. I was like, okay, Jen, this is definitely about you. It says apologizing for your ideas. So saying things like,
oh my gosh,
this might be a bad idea, but I know this sounds crazy, but this might be stupid, but you're literally telling the people in the room that you don't believe in yourself. Why should they? You are literally labeling your idea as bad. This could be a bad idea. Why would you say that about something that you're going to share out? It's like when kids are running for student council and they say, can we vote for ourselves? Like, if you don't think you're the best person for the job, why are you running? Of course you can vote for yourself. Yes. Do not tell people that your ideas are dumb before you say them. Let them decide that on their own. And hopefully they won't say it.
With their face.
Right.
This feels like it's especially targeted to women. Can I just say that? Women... It's a way of, you know why we do it? It's a way of softening ideas. It's a way of not...
And protecting ourselves from...
yes.
What is the word I'm thinking of?
From the men's.
No, rejection.
Yes. It's a way of softening...
If I reject my idea first, then it's not going to hurt when you do it.
When you do it, you can't hurt me. Exactly. But it is like the whole... I think they've done a study about when women speak, and women are more likely to use things like, does that make sense? Or do you see what I'm saying? Or just clarify that. Yes. Right. Like these are things that women say more often because it softens what we're asking for. Right. That is, I just did it. This is along those lines. So it goes back to just honoring, if you're good at your job,
well, also, are you going to say something that you think is stupid?
Maybe I do, but I don't say something
that's after.
Right.
If you thought it was stupid first, you don't say it.
No.
Afterwards, you might be like, wow, that was really dumb. I don't know why I said that.
Right. Or it might not always be related. Like my issue is that like, I'll find a connection to something else and then I'll be like, this might not be related, but it does make me think of this. Is there a way we can tie them together? It might be a better way of doing that as opposed to this might be a bad idea.
We're just starting with, this might be a bad idea. I mean, all I hear is, wow, the person thinks it's not good. I definitely am not going to spend my time on that.
That goes back to sharing in a safe space, right? Like, why not make it a situation where nobody has to take ownership of an idea until later? Like, this was my idea.
Right.
Thanks for using it. But if they don't want to claim it, they don't have to. Yeah, I like that one. That's a good one.
Okay, now here's the last one, and I really wanted to stay away from this one.
Uh-oh.
But multiple sites, multiple lists had this on there, and I figure if it's showing up this many times, it needs to be addressed.
Okay.
Okay. Dress and grooming.
Oh.
Which I know can be a really divisive topic because different workplaces have very different expectations.
Yes.
Okay. One school I taught at, I wore a t-shirt and shorts and sandals every day because we went outside and we spent a lot of time in nature and we dressed for the job.
Yes.
I'm an assistant principal now. I cannot be wearing t-shirt and shorts every single day to work.
And chacos.
And chocolate. I got the tan.
Nice.
I'm really proud of myself.
Nice.
But here's the thing. The basic take-home message from every place that I saw this addressed was just adhere to the culture.
Okay.
If you are underdressed, inappropriately dressed, or following different hygiene standards than the people with whom you immediately work, that is sending a message. Whether you mean for it to or not,
Okay.
you are sending a message. Now, the first message might be, I'm totally oblivious to how I'm supposed to be appearing at this position. That could be the first one.
Oh, dear.
But unfortunately, this day and age, we actually don't start with, wow, that person is totally oblivious. We start with, wow, that person doesn't care.
Yeah. Well,
and that is a cultural issue
Yeah.
that we go to judgment, but unfortunately, that is unintentionally the impact that improper dress and grooming sends. And I'm sorry, I really did not want to cover this one, but it's everywhere. And it just comes down to notice the culture of your workplace and adhere to it in a way that honors who you are.
Yeah. There's a lot of this again on LinkedIn that, especially for people who work from home, like I've seen some pretty inappropriate commentary on like women who wear makeup versus women who don't when they work from home, or like women who are dressed a certain way during the summer. Like if their kids are home, it's a lot harder to, if your kids are home, I mean, anyone who's a parent can tell you like getting in a shower is
right
a struggle some days, right? Like so if you look a mess, I mean, you probably did the best you could that day, right? Like that's just how it is. Oh, I just hit my microphone. So given the work from home culture, I think also there's an element of understanding that needs to be in place too. Like if there's someone who is regularly put together, from the shoulders up, and they work from home, and then they have a day where they don't have makeup on or whatever it may be, that's not a issue to address. That's not a sending a message kind of thing that you need to be harping on them for. That is this person's having some sort of day and maybe I should check in on this person, right? That's very different from the person who regularly is not adhering to the grooming standards of the company, right? Like I see what you're saying. I think that this is a very fine line. And I also think that you can be professional without wearing makeup. You can be a professional person without wearing a suit and tie or a skirt suit all the time, right? There are ways to do this.
Or being a man with long hair.
Right.
All of these things can be true.
They all can be true.
The only thing I could summarize from all the places I read this was notice your workplace culture.
Right. And if everyone else is showing up in a bathrobe and a coffee mug, well, hey, you got it made, right? Like, that's great.
Yeah. But, or if you don't like wearing a bathrobe and bringing a coffee mug, you can overdress.
Nothing wrong with that.
But don't show up in your swimsuit.
No, exactly. Yeah, I see what you're saying. This is a tough one, and I also think it has the potential to get very tricky to have
Yeah, it can
conversations
be,
about this. So I think it
and it's
requires a
kind of
level of
icky.
self-awareness. Yeah, it does require a level of self-awareness. You
Yeah.
have to be into. All right. Well, I like those. I think those are some good takeaways. So making sure you mind how you look, or at least mind the workplace culture. Don't apologize for your ideas. Don't dismiss ideas. Don't perpetuate microaggressions. Mind your behavior in the workplace, work social versus social. Registering for events and not attending as a representative of a particular place of business, and lying to applicants about your timeline for hiring.
Yeah.
all work. I like them. All great ones.
All right, let's take a quick break. All right, we're back.
We are.
It's time for us to talk about what we're obsessed with.
Okay, do it. You
Okay.
start.
So, I am obsessed with Take Me Home. It is the
Okay.
new romance novel from nationally best-selling author Melanie Sweeney.
Oh,
This
that's
is her
so
debut novel.
exciting.
And she is my college roommate. We lived together for 3 years.
Oh my
We were each
goodness.
other's maid of honors. This is a really big deal. She has been working towards this as long as I've known her and before then.
This is so great. Congratulations, Melanie. That's so exciting.
I already finished it. It's so good. It is definitely spicy.
Yes.
And what is hilarious is as I am reading it in her voice in my head. So by the third page, I'm already texting her and saying, "Oh my gosh, I'm dying." Like the main character put Swiss Miss chocolate, hot chocolate powder in her coffee. And I told Melanie, it's like, I am already back at that tiny little apartment behind Walmart in College Station, watching you bring down the big tub of hot chocolate mix and pour it into your coffee.
That's amazing. Oh my gosh. Oh, I love that. What a relatable piece of information, by the way. Like, yes. This is not my obsession yet,
okay,
but it will be. But I have to also piggyback off of this. Congratulations, Melanie. In case you didn't know, our friend of the show, Ariella, has also published her second piece. So her first piece is the novella that I've already read.
yes.
The second piece is called Radio Romance, and it's out already. And the cover is gorgeous, and I'm happy for her. She's out promoting it as much as possible. So if you don't follow her, find Ariella Monti on all the places, preferably not Facebook. I don't think that's her fave. but find her, and I can find her too. But we'll link to both of those books. That's so exciting. Congratulations to Melanie. I love that your nationally best-selling book is out. That's so great. Oh, okay. Well, speaking of...
I know a national bestseller.
Yeah.
Like, let me make this about me for just a minute.
Right. You're famous. We're going to capitalize off of her fame for our show. She needs to go ahead and hype us up a little bit. If you could do that, Melanie, ASAP, that'd be great. Yeah. Much love. Please. Okay. So mine is an Instagram account that makes me happy. And this is not a silly one like one that I'll be sharing later on in an episode, but this is not one of the ones that just makes me crack up. This one is when as the world burns around us, I need this one. This is called At Tiny Kindnesses. It's curated by someone named Rachel Eliza Hunt. I believe she's located in Brisbane, Australia. And I've linked to it in...
some Australians.
Yeah, me too. Linked to it in the blog post for this episode. But it is full of like little happy moments. Things like, one of them that I read was a doctor who was helping a patient with some sort of abdominal surgery, and then at the same time noticed that her appendix was inflamed and said, like, this is probably a recurring issue for you. Is it okay with you if I go ahead and take this out and I won't charge you for it?
Whoa.
Things like that, right? And then this one that I had to screenshot because I love it because you and I are both wearing our glasses right now. It says, people with glasses are so cute. Like, wow, not only are your eyes beautiful, but I get to see them framed like an art display.
Oh my gosh, I love
Like,
it.
what? That's so cute. It's just little cute moments. And I love this account so much for the work that she's doing. Thank you, Rachel, Eliza. I'm sure you don't listen to the show, but I don't care because I love
We're gonna
it.
tag you in it.
We're going to tag you.
You're going to wonder what we tagged you in.
Mm-hmm. Well, I've already shared some of her stuff to our stories because I just love it so much. And she did message and say like, oh, thank you for sharing. I'm like, I love your account. It's so cute. So go follow that one if you need a little life happy. It's really nice.
Okay. Here comes my gem of the week.
Ready.
First off, I like being a mom.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that when I'm a grandma, things are going to be like amazing.
Yeah. Okay.
Because I'm going to do stuff like this.
Oh.
I saw this lady on the Webernet who has a grandma ranking system
Stop
for her
it.
grandkids.
No.
Yes.
This is
She has like one of those top 10 boards.
no.
Okay? Like Wayne and Garth had, or David Letterman.
Yes.
And you would like pull number 9.
Yeah.
Number
Yeah.
8. So she has that mounted on her wall.
And she's
And
ranking
then
the
has
grandkids
on plaques.
Oh,
The
stop
kids'
it.
names.
Stop.
And she slides them around based on things that they do with their lives.
This is amazing and horrible
Yeah.
at the same
And
time.
so like I saw the video was this guy came and visited his grandma and had a new tattoo and she moved him to the bottom of the list.
Listen, if I'm not being a little judgmental when I'm at my grandma face, I don't even want it. I don't want it. So I kind of like it, but I also is sort of
loved
like
it. And all of her grandkids are like teens and adults.
Right.
So they can take it.
Yes, there you go. It's
And I died. I was like, yes, I'm totally doing this.
when
I might even build one for my mom right now.
As long as she understands you can't use it for the 5-year-old. And you guys have itty bitty babies right now in your life. Like you have to wait till they're older to use it.
Yes.
So that they understand it's a joke.
Right.
Oh my gosh.
Which is
that's
so funny.
amazing.
Like,
That's-
oh, so-and-so had a baby. You get slid up.
You pierced your belly button? Down.
Back down.
That's a downgrade.
Sorry.
You missed my birthday? Definitely a downgrade for you.
No.
Okay, well, mine is my child's. I think I might be raising a little old man. I'm not sure. But the other day he was like, Mom, I know what will make Dad really happy. I know what we can all watch together as a family. And I was
Oh my
like,
gosh,
okay.
Please tell me it was like a Lego show or something.
No. He turns to my husband and he says, Dad, can we watch House Hunters? Yes, we can. Absolutely, we can. And my husband's like, yeah, do you want to watch like the ones in America or do you want to watch the ones around the world? And Sam's like, around the world. So
That's amazing.
basically, we're traveling and learning about,
he
real
could
estate
be on the
in
show.
Guatemala.
Hi, I'm 8. I make no
Right.
money.
Right.
And my budget is $2.5 million.
Right. My mom raises dogs and
Yeah.
I collect Lego figurines. My budget is 2.5 million. Like, just
But we'll go ahead and look at the
ridiculousness.
house that's 3-2 and probably buy it.
Yeah, because it has all the things we want in the right location.
Yep.
And then we'll hear the X when you cross off the list.
Right.
Yeah, so good.
Or we said we must have a pool, but we're going to buy this house that's actually a condo with no pool.
Like what? Right. I didn't want a pool, but my husband really did. And, we moved here to appease him. So I guess he gets to have a pool. Like it just the weirdest, but it was really funny. He'll sit there and make commentary. That house is terrible. Why would you choose that one? What? You have to go up 3 flights of stairs? We're not doing that.
That's funny.
All right, man. He gets it. This kid gets it.
We've started watching The Acolyte, the new
Oh,
Star Horse
yeah.
show.
Yeah.
As Kit calls it, Star Horse.
Yes.
It's good.
Is it? I'll have to start. We're still in the middle of House Hunters. We've got about 8,000 more episodes to go.
Yeah, and they crank them out, so there's always going to be new ones.
Well, and you can find it on Max now too, just so you know.
Oh.
Yeah. In case you needed
Okay,
it.
well, You can find us on all the places that you pod. And if you have not yet reviewed us on those, it would be great if you did. We're going to see you next week. It'll be our
2 weeks
next episode.
Yeah, 2 weeks. Yep.
Our next episode is season finale. So
can you believe it? Season 3 finale is coming. Wild.
Okay. It's my turn. Make good choices.
And don't do stupid stuff at work. Yeah? Okay.
Yeah.
Bye.
Hey friends, thanks for listening to the CK and GK podcast. Find us at CK and GK podcast on Instagram and Twitter, and rate, review, and subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Good Pods, or anywhere else that you pod. See you next time.